Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning in here at the Nona Sportscast. I'm here today with my friend Ricardo Villar, CEO of Florida Cup and Florida Cup Series this year. Also, senior partner at 2SV, which is a college recruiting mechanism. I'm going to let him explain to you how that works. And former professional soccer player and former coach and blah, 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 blah. Villar is one of those guys that's been all around the game. And I've always wanted to pick his brain and have him here. And I would like to thank him for making time. Today is a big day for Florida Cup because they just opened ticket sales and he made time to join us. So thank you very much, Villar, and let's get this thing going. So how's everything? It seems like I found somebody that works a little bit more than I do, and that person is Mr. Villar. So
The car drove by itself here.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
That's why
it's a
I don't
little.
drive my car anymore. So I just put in self drive, and then I get on
No,
the phone and I do the stuff that I need to do.
well, I appreciate the invite. I also like to congratulate you guys for what you guys are doing because it's been an amazing journey. I think for you guys here in Nona and seeing the whole community behind it. I mean, looking at a couple of Florida Cups ago when you guys, pretty much painted the stands orange and engage in everything from the 5K run to all the other activations we do during the event and really lived it and hopefully can be back now after the 2 COVID years that we went through and battled through really. And I guess with Chelsea and Arsenal highlighting the event, and then Orlando City playing Arsenal as well, and others to be soon announced. Gotta watch myself that I don't get yelled back at the office from the
If you want, if you want to release the teams now here, it's not is it
I
low?
think I think we got good enough news now to to drive our ticket sales and the I guess just the whole energy and the excitement of the fans. I mean, it's been the best beginning of ticket sales that I mean I've been involved with, and I am just overwhelmed by the response from the market, and yeah, it's hopefully it gets to where we're going. I think we exceeded expectations today, and that's a good sign. So I hope people are excited. If you haven't gone to it, get to it because West Side, Lower Bowl, back behind the goals, those things are already gone, and there's some in the East Side still. But we'll, a lot of different ticketing opportunities because we remodel a little bit of the club area, and so there's more premium opportunities around the stadium. Camping World, as you know, we're one of the bids for the to be a host of the 2026 World Cup. So a lot of renovations, and come check it out. And obviously Chelsea Arsenal. I mean, what a matchup, and I think for everyone, right? A lot of
Yeah.
Brazilians that used to come watch Brazilian teams they're just as excited to see, Thiago Silva, but also just to see really the top Premier Leagues and Champions League team in a way.
Man, I have to tell you, and I watched. I was in London during Christmas time, and I watched Arsenal and City,
Mhm.
and I watched Chelsea and Liverpool. They play a different sport.
Yeah.
So honestly,
The
like,
intensity level is unbelievable.
and I have to say, it's if we're having the opportunity, and you're bringing this opportunity to Orlando this year, when it comes to soccer, we are talking the highest possible level. It's impressive. Arsenal, it's a young team, and with a young coach, but
It's an exciting team.
it's an exciting team to watch, and Chelsea is just a different level. I was lucky enough to watch Chelsea and Liverpool in London,
What a
and
game.
it was 2-2 and unbelievable. So if you guys uh, have a dream to go watch a Premier League game, you're gonna have the opportunity to have this right in our backyard here. So
I think it's the first time such a game has come here, and hopefully not the last time as we continue to build this up in future years. But it's exciting to bring this year. And I mean, if
mhm.
you like soccer, I mean, I used to go watch games when I was little all the time. That's how I fell in love with the game. That's why you actually get to see things outside of the TV where you can, follow that particular player you like, see how he conducts himself, the whole thing happening in front of you. And I think that's important, right? Specifically when speaking about youth development and what you guys do. But it's just the energy level around the EPL games
Yeah.
is hopefully what we can bring to the market, and it'll be here soon enough. I mean, July
So
23rd.
we'll talk about Florida Cup this year, and then the difficulties you had to kind of bring two major players in the sports world, the soccer world right now. But how? Tell us about you. How did you get here? How did you end up running this? I know, but I like to hear from you. And if you're saying anything that I don't agree with, I'm just gonna say you're lying. You're just kept fighting and bringing the Brazilian teams and the
Cool.
South American. So
No, that's
how
yeah.
did you get here?
How did I get here? It's a good question. I started playing soccer when I was 6, futsal in Brazil, and from there our teams did well. I was invited to play in São Paulo when I was about 10 years old, a little bit before 10. And São Paulo FC is one of the best youth programs in town. So I, went to school and played in São Paulo and joined the futsal team, which we did really well. The best games that we had growing up with a lot of pressure. I mean, if you've been to futsal at that stage when you're like 11, 12, 13, and crowd is there, there's fights outside. It's a different level, right? Which prepares you later to not be intimidated by many things. But when I went through that, I started playing at 13 years of age, also field, because Brazil, you focus a lot on the futsal when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
And then on 13 years of age, engage more the 11v11, started playing well as well. And São Paulo brought me to what they call the base, which is the actual
academies now.
first academy teams. I did that for a couple of years. Puberty didn't help me because I came out late, let's say, and stayed behind. Was the little guy for the when I was 15, 16, everybody growing up, I stayed behind a bit. But regardless of that, it was a tough position I was in because I went to a good school and my grades started to get worse because it was far away to go train and sometimes train twice a day. And how do you go to school? So I had to miss it. The team was saying, look, you got to start focusing more here and you can study at night. But it wasn't the same level of education. And in Brazil, you suffer with that. So, unfair choice. My parents sat down and said, look, you know what? Let's go and send you to a international exchange program. And they sent me to the US. I landed in a place really that high school soccer wasn't, in existence at the time. This was 1994. But I luckily got to play a little bit with those clubs that were in the area. That was in Harrisburg, PA. And coach by the name of Dolan was from Ireland, and so was the Penn State head coach, Barry Gorman. And he connected to him after I left to talk about me, etc. So Barry Gorman happened to go to Brazil when I came back. And then by that time, I wasn't really playing with São Paulo's academy. Once I leave, it's hard to come back in. I was just in the social club, right? Where Kaká also was, and Kyle and many other players that you know. And played a game. He came to see it, and right away he said, look, if you have the grades, if you have stuff, there's a scholarship waiting for you. I didn't know what Penn State was, right? I mean, it could have been any school. You remember, this is back in the day where internet wasn't hard enough to get access to. You had to go to books and things. But lucky enough, I was able to get the scholarship. I went to do my TOEFL, went to Penn State, learned what it was, and best time of my life. I wouldn't trade for anything. I mean, I tell a lot of the kids nowadays that are in the program that I'll talk about chronologically here. But if you have a chance to go pro or go to college, think about it a lot, because the college doesn't come back, right? You still may, hold the scholarship money nowadays for you to come back and do it one day, but it is that timing and how much you grow in it, and what really people don't understand, that becoming a pro versus having a career is two different things. So I used it as my development. I thought it was important. Obviously, if I was a top level, maybe internationally in Europe, it would have been a different thing. It wasn't the case. I was still building. And remember, I grew late. So at Penn State, I became an All-American. It was the first time I think we were the first and only time we were number one ranked in college. We ended up losing 3 games in 1 year, all to Indiana, Elite 8, final of the Big Ten, etc. And then I graduated as an engineer, and I was drafted by MLS, which I didn't, it was very, again, soccer was starting professionally here. I think it was the 4th year of the league in 2000. And you didn't have really an easy way to follow things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a cell phone until I was leaving college, right? So it's
That's
different
so
time.
long ago. You're
Email
so
started
old.
like in the sophomore year. I'm 40. I'm gonna be 43 now, so I'm not. Uh, anyways, coming back to it, I got drafted by Dallas Burn at the time. Oscar Pareja was the captain of the team, and I joined the team for preseason. They ended up going to Chile. I couldn't go to Chile because I didn't have the visa yet. I had my student visa, then I wouldn't be able to come back. Long story short, I joined an A League team because a lot of those there was a partnership at the time. And,
Mhm.
and, and I'm talking like it's not like MLS that you see today. It was in high schools.
And the A
It's
League is
very amateur
equivalent
still at the time.
to
A
USL
League is
too.
what is a USL
Yeah,
nowadays, and it was
gotcha.
just one of them I think at the time. And I played well. Was all A League team for Pittsburgh. Um, had a stint there at Virginia Beach Mariners. It was I try to forget, but it's one of those things that you like, make you check if you really want it and dig in because it's not easy. You're in the bench for players and the coach is a lacrosse coach. I mean, everything is just like wrong, and you like, what am I doing here? And luckily enough, we played the U.S. Open Cup, and a German scout came to see me. Not to see me, he came to see somebody else for DC United. But I did well in that game, so he called me in to try out in Germany. I picked up my bags, didn't think twice, and I left. Tried out in Hanover '96. The coach got fired that weekend, which is Ralph Runnig, the coach of Man United today. And then I pretty much had to leave with him because now everything was going to change. The sporting director came in and said, "Where are you?" I said, "I was on trial." I said, "You were on trial. Get out." Nicely, but that's pretty much the message. And I said, "Okay, what I'm going to do?" Then, luckily, a manager saw me, and then he said, "Stay here." I ended up staying there for 6 months in training, getting a contract at Salzburg, which is Salzburg Red Bull nowadays. From there, I played in Kaiserslautern. I'm not going to bore with so much more stuff, but that was the whole process of becoming a pro and then earning a career. And every year was tough. You just have to fight for the next contract. It was never easy. It's not like you build with talent. You understand that attitude is more important than talent, and you keep trying to work hard to make your way, right, and be relevant. And then it got to a point in the end where I came to Dallas and finished my career where I was first drafted years ago, and got to play and got to score some goals and on NBC debuted on the MLS in 2012. I got scored the winning goal against the Red Bulls, and yeah, it was fun. And during this time, I met my wife. I have 4 beautiful kids. I chose Orlando to come to live at the end, and where it connects this to the business side is in through my professional career. I decided to build a business with a friend, Ricardo Silveira, and it was pretty much focused on connecting sports and education in Brazil and give opportunities for kids to do what we did, which is come to America, earn their scholarship, and become a student athlete. So the program really, transforms students into student athletes and get them an opportunity to come to college. In short, CSV Sports. And then later, when I graduated, I needed something else to do, and I wasn't going to leave US and live in Brazil. My wife is German. My kids were born here. I wanted to stay here, let alone the cultural shock is too much. And I came to Orlando and had a connection with Bundesliga. They were internationalizing their brand and things like that. They said, "Look, if you can put something together, we'll support it." And I was Brazilian. I thought, 2014, Brazil just lost 7-1 to Germany. We need that matchup. So we put Brazilian clubs with German teams. It's supposed to be a small tournament to begin with, and 170 countries picked up the rights of the game. I didn't even have
Wow.
the balls to play the game. Like I didn't have what it is now.
Literally.
The Adidas balls that we wear, like we didn't have that. The trophy fell apart because I should have thrown my engineering degree in the trash because I built it in a way that the base was not as strong as the top. Anyways, so it was everything like hustling and staying, late, making sure they deliver what you
And
can.
what year was that?
This was 2015.
15.
But it took off, and then really became something that kind of was overwhelming. It was a lot more pressure than actually the professional level. But we had a dream. We knew the market, absorbed it well. You're talking about Brazil, soccer is in top of mind, in everything that you do in those countries. So there's a lot of spontaneous media, and Orlando, welcomes now UK fans, but also a lot of Brazilian people that come in here for tourism. And we had that dream to create that, media appeal that was natural through soccer, but also, a lot of activities and engage people with fan experience, different content online, and build something what it is the platform Florida Cup today, which is more than just soccer. You have, the concerts and things that you see, the Legends games or Kaká plays and so on. And the whole final thing here to just finalize this long introduction is that we moved under the Florida Citrus Sports umbrella about 2 years ago, beginning of the pandemic, and the whole move was to change from January to July, and with more resources now go after the biggest brands in the world. And it was a tough challenge at the time. We obviously embraced it. We knew that it was the right time in the market, and here we are today with the two top 12, 10 brands really in the world coming to Orlando. And I'm thankful for the Florida Citrus Sports Group to believe in us and the whole entire team, but thankful mainly for everybody in the market, including you, so many people, the guys at Montverde, Orlando City now that joins the event, which is a great addition to us as well. We have, Fabiana, Alejandro, so many people that helped us throughout the process. Jason from Greater Orlando Sports Commission and those guys. Everybody saw this thing growing and picked it up, or we wouldn't be here. And I hope that the town can appreciate it and know that there is more than just soccer, right? That's what we talk about, and we can get the most out of it, and families can enjoy.
That's awesome. You have a resume that's impressive, and the most important thing for me that you said was the connection of your academy base, that you were having a hard time going to school.
Mhm.
And it's clearly that compared to the majority of the soccer players where we're from, we're different. We had the opportunity to be there. I was also in the academies at Corinthians. I'm a little 2 years younger than you, but we were there and we're going through that process. And I went through the same thing. When I had the opportunity to move away to Paraná to go play at the Atletico, uh, they didn't care. Like they didn't even mention school for like 2 months. Luckily, it was
You're a
in
product, right? You were
you're a
just
product. And my mom was like, no way, you're coming back. And and when we're talking to players now with this whole academy thing and everything that's happening, because it's new to the US, all the clubs are
yeah.
starting to build their academy program now. Um, it's very hard to put that into the parents' minds and say, guys, only like the top 1% is going to make it. For you to give up, I know that now. I talked with Oscar here, I talked with Shamini from SAI Academy, and everybody has their own way, but to me, I can't understand like give up school and go do homeschooling to play in the academy thing. And I had so much fun at UCF. You're right, it's probably the best time,
Mhm.
like I don't know if back in the day the coaches were the best coaches in the world, and we leave that to a beer in another conversation. But uh, you've been there, you've seen it all. It's like how many people did you see that was way better players than you, or that gave up the school and gave up everything for the dream, and the dream didn't come through at the end?
I think I'm gonna guess 99% plus
Yeah.
of the kids that go in that direction and sacrifice, and a lot of them end up giving up school in Brazil. There's no chance to catch it back. I mean, it's let alone here you might have the choice in college, or you can still find a direction back and go back to school if things don't work out or whatever. In Brazil, they leave at 13 years of age, 14, 15 years of age. I mean, you still got to go back and finish your high school. Are you really going to do that after you tried and then you've been sent to lower divisions, and
Yeah.
at some point you maybe engage in the things that you shouldn't be doing, to then survive? It's a different reality, let's say, in Brazil. That's why we created our program. But I think it's so unique what you have in America. I mean, the fact that you can study and play at the same time and continue to get better, as it happens in all the other sports. I mean, look, Michael Jordan went to UNC, Tiger went to Stanford, and the list goes on. James Blake went to Harvard or whoever, right? They all went to good schools, played, and then came out of the draft. In soccer is a bit different because culturally speaking, we were not number one in the sports like it is in NFL, like it is in NBA and MLB, whatever. All the other school, pretty much top sports in America. In soccer is not. And obviously a lot of the talent comes out when you're 17, 18, 19, 20, right? Past that, you're no longer a talent, or you didn't get your fundamentals in the right, let's say, level, right, in the right competition,
Hmm.
as you will do here in college. If you play for Duke or if you play for North Carolina, whoever, you're ready to then join the NBA and you go through probably a transition, but you didn't lose time. You actually,
Yeah.
to me, luckily, I had a great coach. Barry Gorman was a great coach. He was one of the best coaches I had, and I had World Cup champions as coach, and Augenthaler and so on. But it got me there where I needed to be later to then join professional level. I know, however, if I were ready at the time, like Kaká was, and how Kaká made the jump from São Paulo professionally at age 18 to then quickly
Yeah.
burst in the scene and jump to AC Milan. Obviously, in those cases, okay, but to really judge those cases and know that you're there, or somebody that doesn't care about maybe your kid as much as you do, saying, how about I pick those guys to fill my roster? Maybe one of them is gonna be okay, right? And I'm talking everywhere in the world that's like that, right? Because if it's not, whatever, gave it the
You
chance, he
have to
shoot
have
for
a
the start.
team.
So at the same time that you don't want to take away the dream of the kid that wants to do that, it has to be just realistic. What is your timing and how much you are evolving under that ecosystem versus, you know, I'm not gonna say chasing a pipe dream, but really not at the right timing for you, or taking steps that you shouldn't be doing. When I say steps, you have the ladder, right? If I wasn't good enough to play in high school, I'm not gonna. Why am I gonna jump and be a starter in college? If I wasn't good enough to play in college, how am I gonna win? And be a top professional player. If I wasn't good enough in USL, what am I doing in MLS? I mean, you have the ladder. You have to prove yourself. So the
Exactly.
timing of everyone is really connected to that. Obviously, Pulisic is a great example that things worked out well, right? He went to Germany and everything happened. But I'm willing to take a guess here. I played with German players before; they still went to school. There was still a balance between the two, right? I played at Kaiserslautern, was a big club. Kids did that. So if you can find that in America, to use that to our advantage versus do what we do wrong in Brazil and other places where we really put them to the test and say is this or that and be done with it, I think we will go a long way. I think there's got to be a bigger link between college and professional, and not separate the two and put the kids through that choice. Hopefully, we'll get there. Obviously, it's an evolving, how do I say, market in the States. You see the level when you went to the EPL and here, but it is getting better. So, how do we get people that are really conscious about what's good also for the kid and can understand that by doing that, parents are going to choose to be in your academy or in your club because you're worried about that as well, and you can um, make them follow the right dream by knowing that he's the right kid for that, or
Mhm.
create that exchange. It's difficult. It only comes with knowledge, I believe, and taking care of your biggest asset, which to us as parents now is our own kids, right? And
Yeah.
what's best for them.
And I think the concern is not even the college. I think I'm in the middle now. I'm more
Mhm.
involved than probably you are on the youth soccer
Yeah,
part.
you.
Uh, once they made to college, it's like that dream is over.
It's not. Yeah.
The parents are thinking that. So they're dropping off in middle school to go to a all soccer homeschool program, or something that is it's like a virtual school, and then you practice 5 hours a day, and it's taking like, of course, for us to say that I don't want to do it with my kids, and I mentioned that it's like it's not for me, it's not for my kids, but there's people that market is picking up. It's picking up and picking up and picking up. So then you go to college and you missed all the social skills. So you focus so much in the game that you have no control at the end. And then socially, it's a big thing. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned of where it's going, because in Brazil, when you take a kid from the projects, when you take the majority, right, 70% of the kids that are playing at that level, they come from low income families where they're not the school may not be part of their day to day
Mhm.
life, or
Yeah.
even to their
Yeah.
families and stuff. So it's normal for you to pull a kid out of the projects and put into a club, and then if it doesn't work, it just goes back to the same life. But here in the US, where we have everything available for us, then you're taking the social skills and then you put them into to a place where you're just going to like practicing soccer 4 hours a day plus that, and then at night you go to club soccer. I think it's too much.
You burn out, or maybe you go into a place that in the end, I mean, you're gonna have to be exposed to good competition. The way you get better is you get your butt kicked, get to see that level and try to get to that, and then find something that's always above you.
Yeah.
Because if you're already without competition, you're not going to get better. That's the bottom line. And if that ecosystem isn't solved, if you have to really trap somebody in to develop themselves here, then better find a solution abroad and put him there, where he'll still go to school, still, find a team that will play and get him somewhere until you can prove here that this can be done here in the same way that it's done overseas. And then the level of kids turning pro. When I say turning pro, it's hard to say that because anybody can turn pro, but actually having a career, right? That you get somewhere and maintain that. I don't think those numbers are there, so it doesn't justify. You can try to find a solution, but what it takes to do that, it's years of an evolving market. I have my own opinion on how I would do and how what I would include college here in some way and some that connection. But again, like I said, it takes a lot of knowledge of understanding and being real to the kid. It's the same in tennis. Like I have Jaime Monsi's a great friend that's coaching them on Verde. A lot of the kids want to be a pro right away, but somebody has to come in and tell that this is where he's at. You don't want to take away his dream, but you want to make sure that he understands what are the challenges and the goals he has to achieve to be where he thinks he's going to be, and not just go and complain and whine thinking that person doesn't know enough. If he's number 34 in the world, beat Ivan Lendl and French Open, if he's saying something, listen. But you can only absorb that or go, nah, he doesn't know what he's saying, and then eventually it will catch up. I think it is just having more knowledgeable people in the market that has lived through it to understand what that is and be real, right?
Yeah, but
because if you're just selling because he needs to come here, let's just say, and then no, then it would, you may work financially for you, commercially speaking, if you're having an organization that does that, but in the long run, your numbers are not going to match up, and people are going to know. And how can you sleep with yourself knowing that you're taking away such an interesting thing like college life and that opportunity and that scholarship? I love playing in college. I can't. I mean, and I played, against Bayern Munich with 70,000 people in the stadium, and didn't touch the ball much against them, but it's a great experience. You feel like you're floating great too, but like the whole experience of college and playing there is amazing to me. I wouldn't trade for anything.
Well, I want to. We're during Nona Cup in November. We're gonna do some parents seminars and stuff, and I would love for you to come in and talk about the college. So you're invited officially to come in and talk about the college experience, not only as a player, but also as a recruiter over the years with 2SV. One of the best, most I would say, since I've been following what you do and the stuff, the relationship with Montverde Academy. You guys had what, 5 or 6 All-Americans in the last couple of years? And
we had, I think, 7 starters or so from Marshall University.
Marshall, yeah,
under Chris Grassi that won the NCAA Division One. And yeah, it's a long process, but again, if you don't start from scratch, imagine convincing the parents in Brazil that, look, you're not gonna be anymore trying for a second league club somewhere and outside of skirts of Rio, but gonna go to college. No, what do you mean no? Like you can't, and then they start thanking you at some point of the decision being made and all. And I don't think that puts away the fact that you can turn professional one day. I'm the living example of that, so I know that it can be done. But obviously, if that can be combined with an academy that's training you at the highest levels as possible, and you continue to go to school, and if you become the one prodigy that can make the jump, then there's going to be a time of that sacrifice. So that kid is not going to go to college because his, Ajax is already looking at him. It's different, but it's real, right?
But at least
it takes knowledge to put them in that position. Yeah, but you prepare the other 99% to go to college. Which
you prepare both ways. I just don't want to give up the school system when you're 13.
Can't do it.
So as long as you have both options, and then you can also you can always fall back to the safe zone, to the safe net or whatever.
That is to give up what every other country wish they had, and it's just not smart to me. But anyways, that everyone can have their opinion in the market. I think I've been through every level in the US, to be honest, from A League to club without a good high school to college to A League, MLS. I know things keep evolving. I even was a sporting director that I consulted from far away, building the San Francisco Deltas from the NSL.
Mhm.
Only played 1 year, league folded. I got the ring.
Nice.
Mark DeSantis was the coaches. I mean, props to them. They were the ones that did most of it. Just built the structure, hired him, and got the vertebrae there. But all the kids that came in, none of them we took away from college. I mean, you know, go to the people in the market because it's not worth. Why would I take a kid from college to go play in a
With
place where I don't know where, if he's going to have a next year and give away a big scholarship or something like that. So I think it's just having that understanding and doing what's right for you, but also for the person you're getting involved
yeah,
to get you in the roster.
when we started USL and in the first couple of meetings with Nona FC, we said, "What's the goal here?" I said, "Look, if we're not gonna bring the kids to college and then mix with the Nona kids that are growing up, we don't have a lot of them now because we're focused on the little kids that are growing. So in 4 or 5 years, we're probably gonna
And that's
have
why the parents really invest in you, is to make sure that they get the
exactly,
right path through.
yeah, and then
Obviously, becoming better human beings and student athletes, but eventually
exactly
opportunities open up in college.
So you'll be surprised, Villar, how many people in Brazil, agents, hey, I have a player, or in Colombia, in Africa, I have a player, I have a player, I have a player, I have a player. And then this is just overwhelming. At one point, at first, I'm doing the right thing and I'm responding, sorry, like you can send a video and we're watching videos and we're doing that. At one point, it's unbearable. You can't do it anymore because you can focus on that and probably put a team to win the league in the first year. You're going to spend a little bit more money because of housing and stuff. But then I told my coaches, I was like, we need to get some college kids because we need to have a tangible role model for our kids to say, okay.
And to showcase them as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then
what's the purpose of that? It's really that last developing stage of a kid that needs continuity in football and hopefully exposure that maybe one day he goes pro, but I think everyone else is really, developing still and seeing where they're going to fit and maybe become even better college players and come back. But I don't know if that's what you do it for, but that's how I see it.
That's the idea.
In that
yes.
market. It's it's fulfilling a space, what's missing in the market, and completing the lack of maybe competition that you have in college, but it's not year round. It lacks in the summer. And you know how it is in Brazil and other countries, it's year round. I mean, you don't stop playing. You have a maybe Christmas vacation. That's it.
10 days.
Especially when you're little. I mean, it's crazy. I had I'm not gonna bore you guys with this story, but I had stories when I was playing little that changed me completely and molded me and built your character, but also go through things that you don't imagine doing when you're little. A lot of it with futsal, or because how serious they take.
Yeah.
And at first you think they take it serious because they really want to win and that fighting spirit, but a lot of it too is they want to they see you as that diamond they need to polish so they can sell you one day. And when you understand that you get treated like that in some places like Brazil, then I guess I was lucky to have parents that shifted me away from that and learned, say, hey, I got to look what's best for him.
Yeah, right? And I think we're starting that here, and that concerns me. It concerns me on the 99% that are not going to make it as a professional soccer player. The 1%, but it's very hard for us to say, like to say something bad about Pulisic now. It's what can we say? He's the number 10 at Chelsea. He's the dream of every kid in the world. So
and he should inspire kids to become that and be like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But then it's one, right? There's a couple more playing in Europe, but
but you had other players, the number 9 Serbian, his name escapes me now, play for Hoffenheim, was a goal scorer of Bundesliga, etc. He went to college here in America. There's examples. If you pull back, you can find it. Pulisic is another type of example, sort of like Davis in a way, although Davis played MLS year, so a little bit later. But there are not many of those. Or Gio Reyna, that knew he had that talent, knew he had potential, made that jump. But there's a little bit more knowledge behind the people that said, you think his dad, who knows a lot about the game, Claudio Reyna, would not have done that to the kid and sacrificed his future if he didn't have a good enough sense that, look, he's gonna be a pro. He's gonna,
And the name helps too. Opens a couple doors.
And name helps, but he's a top player. Seen him, he's still young in the way he's developing. So you have those, like I said, it has to come with knowledge. You cannot just be like following that pipe
No.
dream because that happened there, and then you sacrifice the future or maybe your education or an experience, right? And so, and I believe even, Pulisic, if he probably misses the opportunity to have gone to college. He probably thinks about that, but obviously he wouldn't trade what he's done. He's number 10 at Chelsea, like you said. He had to go on that route, but it's not for everyone.
You know that you same as me. We have a lot of friends that were professional soccer players, or they're still playing, and the thing that they miss the most, it's part of that social, that commitment that they have to do when they were young, and then
I never went to a friend's wedding until I was done playing.
there you go. So, but you had the college. You can probably write a book. We all could write a book and the 4 years of college. And these guys didn't have that. Of course,
Yeah.
if I want to read Ricardo Villar's or Fabio's book in college,
But
and I want to read,
it's also more than that. I mean, you can be street savvy, build a career afterwards. I'm going to use Brazilian as an example, not Americans in this case. But there's not many role models in Brazil. Even the star players. You think about it, I'm not going to name names, but if you think about it, I don't want my kids to be like these guys, and they were stars in my country. I mean, it's very unique that you find a Kaká that you should follow. The others, I mean,
we talked
don't
about
really
that
have it.
last time on the last podcast.
And maybe that's with the upbringing, and a lot of it has to do with society too, and the challenges that they had. So they, in a way, are winners and feel like they, have won through tough conditions, but they're still not role models to the kids for the things they do after. And how do they maintain themselves? If you are filthy rich, maybe there's a way you escape and still save generations of your family, but not everybody makes that much money that goes into the pros that you can survive forever. I feel like my education that I got in college got me in a position to conduct the business that I did with not only 2SV, but specifically Florida Cup, and be ready to do things like that. I mean, obviously, you think of engineering, what does that have to do with it? I mean, I started the whole thing just based on logistics, and a little bit of industrial engineering has that, but it's mainly discipline that you learn, academic discipline tied to, obviously athletic discipline as well, but that environment of college and how you grow
Yeah, I
up and be
agree.
responsible and be able to
100%.
learn about a bit about business, which is part of industrial engineering as well, so you can do this in the future. And that is missing because they gave up school at 13 alone from the conditions they came out of. So
And they were put into a bowl
yeah,
with more kids that also gave up their school at 13, 14
and a
years.
gladiator environment where
Exactly.
you have all these kids, but you're the only one that's going to make it through. So it's hard to even maintain friendships with people that you're trying to fight for that next spot over the
I
top.
finally, Leo, I finally found somebody that think like me. Because there's a lot of people that is living the dream, living the crazy dream, and they think it's possible for everybody, or it's gonna happen for everybody. So thank you, Villar, for
And I don't want to take that away. I think you just have to create an environment where that happens and put the kids that are really going to be in that position, that 1% to continue, but without taking the 99% away. And it's possible here in college. It's possible through a combination of USL with a relationship in college, without overcommitting the kid and losing the scholarship and then eventually making the transition. But every case is different. My
Yeah,
case is different than
the
the other
message
case.
has to
Pulisic wouldn't come to Chelsea if he didn't come through Dortmund, if he didn't, do well on the youth level. He would have come back and still maybe be able to go to college. But the steps
Yeah.
gradually were one.
But then the reason why I created this is to try. I'm not gonna get the message across to everybody, but the kids the people that I can touch, and then bringing somebody like you, I know that I can influence some people in that way. The problem is the message is coming from the bottom. It's like, come here, wear my brand, and you're gonna be a pro. And
It's
this
for the
is
business, right? It's for the wrong
yeah, but it's
reasons
ridiculous.
sometimes.
You need to be very responsible, Villar,
Of course.
with your brand. When you have a brand and I have a brand, we need to be very responsible how we sell it. So it comes from, it comes from above, and let's do it, and they pay in a recreational program with the dream of being a professional soccer player. We know that's not reality, but
Right.
but we need to have some responsibility when we stamp something with our brands. We stamp something here and we say this is the way. It's not, but unfortunately we won't be able to control everything. But
Correct.
we can talk about this for
But you
seven
can set you can
hours.
set the example and see how the long run. I think things shift towards the right way, or hopefully
And
it
that's
settles itself. I mean, because you're still so young. I mean, soccer here is still so young in America that sometimes that's too much out of it. I remember when I was in '94 here in high school, it was a World Cup, and that they were talking about the project that in 20 years they're going to win the World Cup, and then that came, and now it's going to be 20 years more. Now that came, I think reality set in that we understand now it's going to be not the main goal that you should be going after, but really making your base stronger and be able to produce more players that eventually are going to come back to help and make that
yeah.
that case or win. And it's tough because it takes, then it goes into pride, it comes into, but the reality is, you went to EPL, you saw what that environment is like. You still don't have the same exact one, you're building towards it, and it's great. But I mean, I cannot complain from what I've seen when I came out of college to what is now. It's completely different. Professional soccer evolved so much in this
Oh, it's
market.
probably the country that evolved the most.
No, for sure.
Oscar told me that here when we sat down.
But the other ones have like hundreds of years ahead of it, so it's natural
That's what I'm saying.
that it
Yeah,
catch
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Obviously, there's a speedy catch up, but it's not as quick as you say. Oh, in 20 years we're going to win everything. Hold on. What the rest of the
And
world?
the media
They also going to
competition.
continue. When you said that, you thinking everybody would hit the top. Maybe the only one that were at the top at the time was Brazil, that actually got worse versus getting better. The rest of, especially in Europe, as the athletes got better, as that whole side of physiology, the
Science. Yeah.
tactical part, and all that got better. Brazil didn't. US got better, but so did many countries abroad, and that it's not an easy catch up. It's possible at some point you get there, but it's fun to be part of that evolution, I guess.
I think Villar here in Central Florida, and I told you this before. Um, what you do, it's probably one of the most important things for us here. And I respect a lot with when you had the vision to say, "Hey, I'm going to bring." At first, I thought it was crazy, and I told you this many times when we talked, to say, "We're going to bring Corinthians, Palmeiras." Like, it's good soccer, we know, because we grew up
Yeah.
with, and it was very hard to separate the passion of bringing a Brazilian club to the business sense
Mm.
of creating a professional tournament in
Mhm.
the land of Mickey Mouse.
Mhm.
I remember when it first came out, they used to call the trophies in Brazil, it was like, oh, they won the
Yeah,
Mickey Mouse
yeah,
Cup. And now we evolved to be not only mixing those cultures, because I know that's where we're going eventually, have a Flamengo and Chelsea
yeah.
playing Florida Cup or so on. So bringing in this here, I respect you a lot for facing the market and say, I'm going to do it. And I know. So when is the first time that you say, hey, I'm going to bring, the teams from Bundesliga here? What was the biggest challenge that you had? And because I know every club in Europe back then, 17 years ago, they wanted the US market. And then how to get in. So you had I don't believe in luck. I believe in the quality of the people that saw an opportunity and went for it. But what was the biggest challenge? You say,
The biggest challenge was making the market live to the expectation that was set from overseas professional clubs that would give up their preseason preparation, which is so important to them, to come here. And I had to make sure that everybody understood that the hotels understood that the facilities understood that and it's not easy because you're building something in the market, but not everybody cares the same way. It's not like you're bringing the World Cup and everybody's going to move to make it happen. But you understand in the long run, it all connects at some point. So that was the most difficult thing, is to make everybody move in the same sense that no, that okay, the soccer players are coming professionally are not better than another someone else or the tourists and stuff. But if you are a market that's serious about having the biggest sporting events in the country or being the capital of soccer, of international soccer, so on, you do have to set yourselves a level of expectation and excellence to deliver to those teams, or they're not going to come back. Because I go out there selling Orlando, right? And Orlando is much more than what you just mentioned. Disney. Orlando is Orlando, right? And you got the different things, and you got Universal now as a big partner that is completely separate that understands the the whole picture and made us even evolve and go beyond. But you have to win over the people and share the vision and make sure that they connect you to get you farther to really sell what it is the entire package to those teams, because you're going against LA, you're going against New York, you're going against the big cities, and it's not easy. You think how everybody wants to come here. It's easier actually in South America because people really really love Brazil, Orlando, and you know that
Mhm.
we're the second home of the Brazilians, but not everywhere else in the world is the same. So you really have to make sure that everything that you're delivering is a little bit better than somewhere else. So technically, they come here, they take an advantage of being here versus somewhere else. That you can get to the sales level that New York can do with ticket prices high and all that. It's a challenge, and we took that on just by making sure that on top of all of that, the people in front of it were reliable, and I think we proved that time after time. We're knowledgeable. We build a team with the best in the market. I mean, said how did it all start? When I saw all these situations, I said, let me get the best logistic, you know, technical logistic person in the market, and Dudu, Rodrigo Ernesto,
Yeah.
came in the group. Let's get somebody that's a genius in, marketing, the digital side, and etc. Adriano came in, became part of the project. Let's get somebody that understands PR and been around more than anyone. Patricia, come in here, be part of the place. So, me and Silveira, we started building this team that has other people and other components that when teams arrived here, they're like, whoa. And they're to this day, connected to us. So how does Arsenal come back? Because one day Corinthians came with Edu Gaspar, who's the director of the club. They opened the door. Then we can go and show the club everything else that can be done commercially and make sense of it. How does um, um, last year Everton came back? Because Marcel, the sporting director, who's no longer with the club, was here with PSV in 2018 and a great experience and came back and won everything and knew that we were reliable. So it's network with build credibility. They get to, and there's many other examples that you connect to say, oh, really? How many times did Rudy Voller come back with Leverkusen and so on. So I think that's really the secret is that building that group around you and making sure that challenges in the market are met. And sometimes you go to a hotel and the experience is tough. You can say, oh, I'm not going to go back there, but great, if I go somewhere else, I'm going to go again through a tough experience. So let's make sure that they get a second chance and see that now they know how it's going to work. But at some point you have to drop the ones that are keeping you behind, because in the end your goal and your vision is different and you want to get Orlando to the right place as you really represent it. It's funny to me because I don't have a home, right? I was born, I'm Italian Brazilian, grew up everywhere. Sao Paulo, a lot of my part of my youth. Then I came to America, 17 years old, didn't come back, been to Munich, been to, many cities. But I feel that Orlando is the one I'm most connected to. Is where my family was raised, is where I want to stay. It's where I feel pride about selling. Want to make sure that we deliver, that people think the same way. And I found people like Steve Hogan and others with us in our group now that think like that, and that's what drives us forward and makes this happen. So for you guys and everybody that comes, when those teams comes, we're proud that they feel the best experience in Orlando from beginning to end, like from the airport when they land, that experience until they leave. Which, by the way, the airport, amazing partnership, how they help and support and treat the all the teams and the people we bring. So long story short, if that solved it, is that, and then is networking, credibility, and choosing the right people.
So the biggest challenge is it's not selling to the clubs that they have to come to the US. Yeah.
And they got many offers for a lot of money.
That's what I was going. So the biggest challenge is competing internally between the cities and say Orlando over LA or over New York. Interesting. So how do we fight for the World Cup now with those challenges?
It's similar. I think our whole pitch in that, and look, and I'm speaking here as a just a member supporting it. I mean, Jason's leading the team, and Jen and Brent and those guys with Christic helping, and Kaká is an honorary chairman, and so many other people that are involved in supporting. They are leading and have the credit to be where we are today, and as a finalist city. And hopefully next month we find out. But it is selling the whole picture, not just head-to-head stadium versus another, not just the actual address. It's just showing everything that we have and how we're able to support them outside of the field. It goes from landing in the airport with all the logistic solutions, and the right investment as a market, and just providing the entire package when they have to hopefully say, look, that one has to be part of it, just because the experience that the fans are going to have, and in the end of the day we all fight for that, because good experience for the fans, good return for the sponsors, and so on. Orlando has proven that we can deliver, and from that you connect all the dots. Good experience, a lot of influencers, digital content creation. I mean, what can you do in Orlando that you couldn't do anywhere else? We can provide a lot, right? It's more than most cities. So I think with everyone embracing and being part of this, and Jason done so well to get all the key players and in the marketplace, the stakeholders to hold it together, put a good presentation forward, and show that we are united. And I'm hoping that it comes home, to Orlando. So we'll see.
Yeah, that would be great. I think this type of messages and events, like I told you, Florida Cup is amazing. That first it brought us a higher level soccer to the city. Then now it's taking us, like I said, Chelsea plays a different sport. It's just
It's
such
crazy,
a
right?
such a good soccer, and then it keeps improving every year. So how can we help?
Yeah, I think you guys are already helping. I mean, look, I don't know how much excitement is there in the club. I know the club, for example, today went on a 500 ticket purchase, a different club. I know you guys have broken the records in the past, not last year, but the ones before, and got really engaged and lived it. And I know you guys are connected again with our team, with Joe, and Terry does a great job, and you and everyone else, to just really get everyone engaged to say, hey, this is a one in a lifetime opportunity. Let's
Yeah.
get behind it and be there and connect yourselves to the stadium. Hopefully, do it faster than in the past, because in the past we always had tickets left over. The way this is looking now, which is exciting and fun for us. Hopefully get everybody on board sooner than later, make their summer plans, and then everything else that happens through the week goes from people to see who wants to enjoy it or not. Like in the past, you had some people wanted to do the 5K run, others were Brazilians want to go to the concert. There was the Legends that goes more, but the game you can't miss, right? The game is that one place where
Big
we
event.
also show the world and show our guest clubs that, look, this is Orlando. This is how excited we are about this, the atmosphere and that we're gonna put in the stadium. And you guys have a big following, a big base of students and youth, I guess, in the academy, that parents should join in, etc. That hopefully would have the fun and feel engaged. And if we do that, we show that all our efforts and investment to bring those teams is well appreciated, and people show up, and we can keep bringing more teams, more fun events every year in the summer.
So as everybody know, we're gonna be having what's the dates? The main game.
So far announced is July 20th, Orlando City versus Arsenal at Orlando at Explorer Stadium, and then on the 23rd of July is Chelsea versus Arsenal at Camping World Stadium. They're both evening kickoffs because it's obviously the summer. Tickets are available online. Just so you guys understand, the Florida Cup continues to exist because of our expansion to other markets in two cities that are going to be announced, due to the fact that those European clubs need to be marking their territories across the US, and we want to be part of this. We adapted the format to be called FC Series. And the FC Series will have Clash of Nations rounds, where I can't tell who is England playing against in the first one and where, but it will be soon announced. And then midweek, for example, is UK versus US. And you already know that Arsenal's playing Orlando City, Chelsea's playing another American team that will be known soon. And that way is like a fun challenge between those two countries, those two leagues in a way.
Cool.
And then we go from those FC Series Clash of Nation to a showdown where those two European clubs will always meet in Orlando, and that's where the big game will happen for the traditional Florida Cup trophy. So the Florida Cup becomes part of that FC Series as the single showdown event in the end of the the tour of those two
Gotcha.
clubs. So in this case, Arsenal and Chelsea.
That's cool. So Chelsea plays another American team in Orlando as well, or no? Somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Okay, deal. So we're gonna be hosting the summer camp for Arsenal.
Oh, really?
We are. this is the first time we're talking. I talked on the parents meeting, so we've
Nice.
been working with Field Soccer, and then we were waiting for you guys to make the announcement so we can make the announcement here. So we're gonna be start selling summer camp now. Next week is tryouts, so the week after.
So what
And
announcement?
then
Announcement of because Arsenal's already all set.
oh, I know, but we were waiting for you guys
Oh,
to
so,
announce
so
it,
you guys can announce.
so
Cool.
we can announce it. So
That's fun experience.
we did get with Matt with Field Soccer, and then we're gonna
Got
be
together.
hosting them here in Lake Nona. So
Cool.
I think Arsenal is our team. We're gonna be.
They had your colors almost.
Yeah,
I mean, somewhat.
there's a couple of shirts and stuff. So anybody going to the camp are gonna go to the game. So we're gonna have a good.
Did you guys
good
get a chance
crowd
to
there.
see Arsenal Chelsea this past week? Arsenal happened to win the game, but what a game that was.
Yes, I saw it.
4-2. I mean, unbelievable. We're hoping. I mean, I'm excited to see the game more than any game we had before. So
Yeah, that'll be fun. And
no, it's fun that you choose a team, you get to go behind it. Hopefully, then other groups here in town can
and
be
those
connected
guys,
to theirs.
it's unbelievable how professional they are when they're
Well
dealing
structured.
with us. I had a couple conference calls with the academy directors there, and then they're excited that for the first time they're actually dealing with a club
Right.
that has the following. He went through our social media and it was a great conversation. So we're excited to host them here. They're gonna do a coaches seminar. And they're gonna be talking to our coaches and stuff.
And they take it serious, the fact of footprint in the US and what they do and how they do it with. So good to hear that. And hopefully we'll start building a youth tournament around it for teams internationally to come, that we can some way connect that showcasing piece of the college one. And Monverde is a good partner in that sense too, as we bring many kids. So there's all on the right timing, things that still can be evolved. I have that big timeline of World Cup 2026 in mind, just because once Qatar happens, the whole focus is the US, and that hopefully helps us. But at the same time, that helps us. Orlando is again fighting with also many other states. But I think we're well structured that the clubs know that is no longer a risk. Who am I gonna go with? These guys, I think there's enough credibility built in the market that they check one another. They speak to Ajax or they speak to Arsenal now, and so on. That we already are at that top level in terms of, I guess, market acceptance. I would say at first, and now really rolling out and doing what we do and doing the best we can. That shows. So we were lucky to have two teams that came from Brazil in 2019 and 20, and then they went on to win everything.
Yeah.
And played in the World Cup finals for clubs. One was against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Palmeiras then.
I didn't like them very much. You had
Palmeiras just played Chelsea now.
Yeah, you had to take the trophy into the airplane, and because Corinthians was losing, and I remember that. I was there. It was But Villar, I want to thank you. Busy summer ahead when it comes to soccer. We're going to have Florida Cup. We're going to have Nona FC, the first USL2 team here in Central Florida. You're invited to our first game as well. If you have time on your busy schedule, we're going to play Weston.
Nice.
May 10th here at Austin Tindo. So you're my guest. If you
when
want
is
to
it?
Come, May 10th.
Coming up.
2 weeks, yes. We're looking good. We have some 2SV players in there.
I seen Guilherme here.
Yeah, Guilherme. We have Luca, the defender. I was looking through his Instagram, and I know he's a 2SV
cool.
from Kentucky.
So it all connects, and then we have a lot. I think we have over 2,000 kids that came here, and it's fun to see them, connecting and being. Sometimes we would even play the pickup games here, and the kid tell me they're 2SV, and I've been, Suvera runs everything there, and then they evolve, and you don't notice, and then you connect, and it's like instantaneously they live that culture, right, that we try to instill. And so it's cool to see kids like that here with you guys.
So they'll be here. So we have, if you have insecurity tickets for Nona FC, this is the time to do it. We are it's on the screen. So thank you, Leo. Leo is so proactive. Uh, we have the link to for you to purchase the tickets for Nona FC. We're gonna be sharing via email, via Instagram, all of the Florida Cup stuff, and
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Chelsea and Arsenal. I don't know if it's gonna be the same day as the Nona FC. I need to cross the schedule because
We can't
Nona,
change ours at this
you
point.
know,
I would.
you know, Nona FC game might be a little bit bigger than
You
Chelsea
changed
and
that one, man.
Liverpool. May have to
I'm
work on
officially
changing
changing
that.
the match for everyone listening here.
There you go. So, and then the Arsenal camp and Villar, I want to first of all to congratulate you because
Thanks.
it's amazing what you do. I know it's not easy. I know the barriers that you have to jump over, the hoops and all of the above. Killing one lion a day is not the hard. The hardest to get rid of the crap that comes
That's
along. But it's beautiful what you do. You can
thanks.
count on us at any time. Thank you
No,
for making the time and
no, thank you, man. I mean, congrats on what you guys do. That it's not easy and need more of it. I think that the one thing less message I like to send. I'm guessing that most of the people that follow this now is kids from your academy and
kids and
parents from
parents.
the academy is that the one thing that got me through my career was the mental aspect of how I approach every day and everything that I do is the attitude over talent. So you be an overachiever versus an underachiever, and that you learn the hard way in the beginning. I even played in South Korea, as you know, for a year where I learned some of that lessons. It was a tough time, but it was I needed that, to be more humble at the time and more focused and disciplined. But I always had that strong mental side that got me across. And as we talked about San Francisco build a team, I look at that kids whoever are focused, want to deliver, no whining, get the job done, know that in the end it'll make sense if you put in the work and that cycle goes around, right? Attitude, build into the culture or you're being left out, being that a locker room or a different country, pay that price and then you achieve and baby steps into the next round. I think that people understanding that the mind is the athlete, the body has to follow, and you do the best with the carcass you got. I didn't get a good one. You were more
Yeah.
fit, bigger, taller. I was never fast. I had to work a lot on my skills and find a different way to be. But that is something that I think makes a big difference, especially in this market where the technical level is so much alike, right? And there's a lot of tough, the mental level toughness here in the US. It's so good and strong, and in soccer, sometimes I think that lacks whenever you meet another opponent where they look a little bit more happy feet or what. Don't get intimidated. Stick to it. Mental strength, and I think that is one last message that I think I could help pass, and hopefully it wasn't too boring. And I've been watching you eating that chocolate all the time. I hope that bag still has something inside. I have a not 1 hour drive back home now in the same city as you guys.
I'll get you. I'll get you on for the road. So thank you
It's
again,
Brazilian
Villar.
chocolate, by the way, guys.
Thank you again, Villar. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for logging into episode 7, Leo. Episode 7 for Nona Sportscast. This is a big one today. We're excited to have Ricardo Villar, CEO of Florida Cup and board member of the Orlando Commission.
Sports Commission. I'm just happy to have a seat there with those guys, and also helping with the World Cup committee there for the bid for next.
Bring it home. Bring it home,
Let's see.
Villar. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, Leo, for your help. And let's see who's coming to the chair next. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.